Hello and welcome to this 3-day mind mapping workshop. So, first of all, I would like to congratulate each and every one of you today who are present here right on time because it means that you value your time, it means that you value your decision, it means that you value your personal growth, and that is why you have invested your time and money in this course and you're present here on this beautiful Friday evening and you have chosen not to do something else right now and to be here to learn something new that would be useful both in your personal and professional life. So congratulations once again for that. So even before I go to what is mind mapping and my journey about mind mapping and all of that, I would like to start this session with a beautiful story that was narrated to me some years or decades back. Yeah, I was in standard 4. And I remember this teacher of mine who narrated this beautiful verse from one of the religious scriptures. And it was written that unless you are like a child, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. I was literally scared that day, scared because I couldn't imagine that, oh my God, what would happen if I grow up? Did it mean or does it mean that I don't need to grow up because I wanted to go to heaven or whatever that meant at that point of time, like a child who was just in standard 4? And today, when I look back at my life, I understand the importance of that verse. I understand that when we say that a childlike nature, it means we are talking about curiosity. We are talking about being innocent. We are talking about being open to more and more possibilities. A child is never, a child's mind is always full of questions and doubts, but at the same time, a child never suspects. A child is always open to learn new things. So I thought that this would be the perfect example for today to start with, because what my teacher meant that day, that I understand now better. What she meant was that when we have that inner child alive in us, when we have that innocence, when we have the attitude of lifelong learning, when we know that we are not very judgmental, we don't judge anybody, we learn new things very easily, all of that childlike quality makes our life heaven here on earth. So I don't know the concept of heaven and hell and all that, but what I understand is that when we embrace our childlike nature, life automatically becomes beautiful. And I want you to understand this today, that let's, for the next 3 days, starting today, embrace our childlike nature. Let's, for this 3 days, be very open to learn, be not very judgmental about, okay, is this new technique going to work for me? Is this not going to work for me? Let's not give too much attention to that inner chatterbox that is always on. Let's just shut it off for 3 days and let's focus more on learning the skill. Let's be very, very open, like a child who is learning some painting or learning some language for the first time. He or she will make mistake, but in spite of all that mistakes and everything, he or she will keep trying again and again, and in the process make it a way of life. So I want that at the end of this 3 days workshop, mind mapping workshop, when you leave from the Zoom room, when you leave from this workshop, you actually leave with a sense of feeling that yes, mind mapping has now become a way of life for me, and I'm going to continue this for the rest of my life in whatever I do and wherever I can. So that is the attitude, that is the enthusiasm, that is the curiosity I want you to have for the next few days. All right, so let me quickly share my screen and give you a plan of talk, or what, let's say, plan of action for the next 3 days using a mind map. Let me share my screen. So if you can see here, today is day 1, and like in all my mind mapping workshop, this is something I always do. And irrespective of whether I'm taking the mind mapping workshop for this train the trainers, like for teachers and educators or coaches, or I'm taking it for students or engineering students or for teenagers or school kids, irrespective of whomever I'm taking this course for, I always do this first thing on day 1, that is the promise. Now, what I mean by this promise, it means that right at the very beginning of this course, let's make a promise to each other. Yes, what I mean is that I will make some promises to you, and in return, you will have to make just one promise to me. So let's see what are those promises. So today is day one. Let's see. The promises are that there's something called as learning progression graph, about which more I'll talk tomorrow in day two session. But my promise is that in that learning progression graph, there are 6 steps. So my promise is to take you from step 1 to step 5, or sorry, step 1 to step 3 of that graph. And then I would also promise that at the end of this 3-day workshop, you will be making your first 5 customized mind maps. And I'm also giving you the secret 3-5-4 formula that I use in my life to do anything and everything, whether I'm writing a book or I'm giving a speech or I'm planning content for my workshops or I'm planning content for my some other projects, whether or I'm brainstorming or decision making, whatever I do, I use this 3-5-4 formula: 3 habits, 5 steps, and 4 aspects. So we're going to talk more about what are this 3-5-4 formula. I'm also going to talk about the need of mind map. Why do we need mind map in the first place? I mean, we are all at some position in our life right now. We have finished our, formal education, whatever it is. And of course, we are doing something in life right now, right? So why do we need at this age to learn a skill called mind mapping, which just seems like, arranging some notes with colors and all of that? Why do we need? So that need, first we have to understand the why. Next, of course, very important thing in any skill, whether I'm learning cooking or I'm learning how to drive a car or I'm learning how to swim, or it could be I'm learning some new dance moves or just anything, irrespective of whatever skill or art or anything that I'm learning, I first need to fix my mindset. Of course, the first mindset is we are going to learn everything with an open heart, just like a child. That is, of course, the first mindset that I have told in the story in the beginning. But even beyond that, there are several mindsets specifically to mind mapping that I want you to understand. And I'll be talking more about it in the session. The next, of course, that we'll be discussing today is skill set. Now, when I say skill set, we might have a lot of, mindsets and all of that. But what are the specific skill set that you need for mind mapping? So we'll, in this 3 days, that is what we are going to understand, that what are the skill set. And today I'll be introducing you with those laws and all of that. And you'll be making your first few mind maps in the session today. And I'll be talking about how clarity is important in life. Okay, so this is the plan of talk for day 1. Let me fold my notes. Day 2, what are we going to do tomorrow on day 2? So day 2 is more about, the COCP framework. If you have seen my ads, as most of you have mentioned that in your Google form also, that you have come to this program through my ads. At least 96% of you have come here through my ads. So COCP. C stands for clarity, O stands for organization, C for creativity and productivity. So these are the 4 aspects we will be touching upon tomorrow. And I'll be discussing what is COCP, that I'll be telling to you right today. And I'll also be talking about presentation mapping and how to write articles, projects, videos, all of that creatively using the power of mind mapping. All right. And day 3, that is a final day, which is going to be again the most exciting one. We are going to learn, 5 ways like content mapping, book summary, self-awareness, brainstorming, decision making, gratitude journaling, all of that using mind mapping, hand-drawn as well as software mind mapping. And for all those who will be finishers, as I've said that I need only one promise from you. I will be giving you all of this, but the only promise that you need to give it to me is that you are going to be a finisher. I have mentioned in the day 1 only that yes, I'm going to give all this for you. The promise you have to give me as a participant is that you are going to attend all the 3 days live. You're going to do all the exercises, not for me, but for yourself, as a respect to the decision that you have made to invest in this course, you are going to finish all of that and attend until the last day and take a good decision for yourself. So yes, we will be doing all of that on day 3. And on day 3, when you finish everything, the course, the assignments, and all the tasks, finally, there are a lot of bonuses waiting for you for all the finishers. Of course, you'll be getting a certificate at the end of the 3 days, and there are other bonuses that are waiting, exciting bonuses that are waiting for you on the other side. So this is about the plan of action for the 3 days that we are going to do. All right, so this is what we have understood about mind mapping, the 3 days. What are we going to do? But even before going to what is mind mapping and all of that, you might have a lot of questions in your mind. And I understand that one of the biggest, even more than the pandemic, more than the virus, if there is one thing that is affecting the entire human population today, it is distraction. Yes. Right now, you might be sitting here in front of the camera and watching me, but your thoughts might be somewhere else. So we as a generation today are suffering from this epidemic called as distraction. And I don't want to add to that. So I thought even before we move ahead, I'll clear some of the confusions that you might be having in your mind. So let me share my screen and show you. Okay, so you might be having a confusion that will you be getting the recording? Yes, of course, you'll be getting the recordings of the first 2 days. The third day is live. The third day, there will be no recordings available, only the first 2 days. And the recordings will be available to you through a YouTube link, which will be a private link only given to the participants of this session. And the recordings will be available to you for 1 week. Next, what is the duration? The duration of this session is 90 minutes, followed by 15 minutes Q&A. And on Sunday, we'll be having a 2-hour session. And the $1 million question, do we have any breaks in between the session? Well, it's a very short session, so we really don't have breaks, but yes, we will have other forms of breaks in the forms of exercise and chat and all of that. So yes, these are the distractions, or these are the questions you might be having in your mind. And as a trainer, I don't want these questions to distract you from what you have learned, or what with the mindset that you have come, that okay, we want to learn this skill, and just because of this nagging questions that will I get the recording, will I not get the recording, is it going to continue till night 10 o'clock or so? So all that questions should not come to your mind now once I've shown you this. Okay, so moving forward, let's see that about knowledge. I have asked you earlier also, and just try to answer this one question for me. Is knowledge so important? Is knowledge power? We all have heard this phrase several times in our life. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. But my question to you is knowledge alone sufficient? Now imagine you are the librarian. You are the librarian or the chief librarian of the world's best library. Okay, your library has the best of books in the world. Some of the books which are not found anywhere are there in your library. Now you as a chief librarian, you feel very pumped up, you feel very great that okay, see, I'm chief librarian of this big place where so many good books are there. And imagine now I walking down to your library and asking, ma'am or sir, can you please give me that book? Now you as a librarian, you know that there's this book, but what you did was you did not organize your library in a proper manner. So what happens? Because you did not organize your library, when somebody comes in and asks for a book, you don't really know where it is. You keep searching, or the person keeps searching, and what happens? Only there are 2 options. Either the person who is searching will just give up, saying that, okay, I can't find it and I don't have the patience to do it, and also waste a lot of time. Or the second option is that while searching, he or she might actually spot that book, but in the process waste a lot of time. In both the cases, it's a very unproductive way of solving a problem, that you have a lot of information, but you just don't know how to organize it, as a result of which when you need it, you don't have it with you. And that brings me to the question, that is acquiring knowledge important? Yes, acquiring knowledge is important, but what is more important is organizing that information, organizing that knowledge. Yes, knowledge is power. If you have knowledge, if you have proficiency, it is power for you. You might be gathering a lot of knowledge from YouTube videos, from books, and a lot of things. But what is the use of that knowledge if you cannot enhance your own life or the life of others around you? So I say that yes, knowledge is power, but knowing how to leverage that knowledge for your own betterment and for the betterment of people around you is your superpower. So yes, is acquiring knowledge important? Yes, but that's not enough. Only knowledge alone is not enough. So the next thing is, once we have the knowledge, we also got to have that proper memory and recall, so that whenever we need that information in our life, it could be in decision making, it could be in keeping my cool, it could be in any professional or personal goal, wherever that knowledge, that wisdom that I have got, it should be applicable to me, it should be present to me that right at that moment. So yes, along with knowledge, I also need a proper memory and recall. And now once I have knowledge and once I have memory and recall, what I need is I have to use them so that I can save my time at work and in family and everywhere, so that I become a lot more productive. And when I say productive, I don't mean that, just being good at work and doing a lot in one single day. What I mean when I say productive is having that time and energy to do things that you love at the end of the day, while not compromising on your career or other things. So that is what I mean by productivity. So, along with knowledge and along with memory, recall, you also need to be productive in your day to day life. It could be just anything and everything that you're doing, whether you're planning a simple birthday party, or you're going for shopping, or you are, working on a big project for your office, or maybe you're drafting a speech for maybe your YouTube channel, or whatever it is, just anything and everything. You got to be productive. You got to do a particular amount of work in a stipulated time and not in a redundant manner. So you got to be very productive. But is that all enough? Knowledge ho gaya, recall, memory, and all that is done. Productive. You have become a lot of productive and you save time now. Even then, it's incomplete. You cannot do away without creativity and clarity. Yes, irrespective of whatever profession you are in, gone are those days when creativity was associated only with some sort of, artist, or maybe an author, or maybe a painter, or maybe a dancer. Only those people were considered as creative people. But today the situation is different. Today, irrespective of whether even you're a salesperson or a marketer, or you're working in an ad agency, or you're doing an desk job, whatever it is, everyone demands just one thing: think out of the box. And that is where creativity comes in. So irrespective of what you're doing in life, you got to be more creative. You got to be more creative. All right, so creativity is again one thing that you must have. And all of this put together, that knowledge, memory, recall, productive, when all of these are sorted, you also need the creativity element, so that everything falls in place. But none of this will work, or none of this will, bind together unless you have this one thing in life. And that is clarity. You got to have clarity in life, whether it is about clarity of thoughts, whether it is about clarity of what you want to do next, clarity of goals. Just everything will fall in place only when you have clarity. So the main agenda is, moving from confusion to clarity using mind mapping. And we are looking towards 4 aspects of life. So yes, these are the things that, even though we say knowledge is power, but unless you have the tools and techniques and methods to use that power or to leverage that power, you cannot say knowledge is power. That only knowledge is not enough. So I call this as the COCP program, or COCP pyramid, where I say that the first base of anything that you do should be clarity. You might, as I said, you might have knowledge, you might be very productive, you might be very creative and everything, but if you're in a confused state of mind, you cannot go ahead and do anything. So the first thing that must be done, or the first thing that must be addressed, is clarity. And we are going to do that today using mind mapping. I'll just show you a glimpse of how we can gain more clarity in anything that we do using mind mapping. Now, once we have clarity, then we got to go to organize whatever knowledge we have, whether it is about notes or thoughts, whatever it is, we got to organize everything in a proper way. Otherwise, our mind will be like that library. You remember a library full of books, best books in the world, but because it is not organized, you can never find out the book you want. So you got to be like an organized library. So organization. Now, once you have the clarity and you have organized things in your life, whether it's about your goals, your financial goals, your health goals, or how the way you talk, the way you behave, when everything is organized, you need to have that element of creativity, to be at the edge of whatever you are doing, to be on top of doing what you want to do, to be better than others in the field, or just to be, better, become better versions of yourself. You got to be creative. And on top of the pyramid is when you have all of this, automatically, without even you realizing, you will become very, very productive in life. So yes, and when you become productive in life, then you can see that is the roadmap towards your goal. So please keep it in your mind, this pyramid, COCP, clarity, organization, creativity, and productivity. All right, yes. So as I say, this is the magic productivity formula. You need clarity, you need to organize, and then you need to have that creative element. And then, yes, you just mix this using mind mapping and you become automatically productive. So this is the magic productive formula. So as I say that, whatever I have done in the past 12 months, or whether if I think about my entire journey of teaching in an engineering institute as an assistant professor for almost 12 years, or author of 2 books right now, I'm author of best-selling book. I have given my TEDx speech just last month in December. I also have a startup. So what I'm trying to emphasize here is whatever I have done in life, whether it's my, degrees, or whether it is my PhD degree, whether the way how I topped in my, school or in my college, whatever that I've done in my life, if I reflect back and sit and think that what are the 3 habits that have, been a game changer for me. The 3 habits are, let me bring on, read, write, and map. Yes, I read, write, and map. And there's no particular order for this. You can map first and then read, or then write. So, there's no cyclical order or anything, but these are the 3 habits that have been a game changer for me, and that can be a game changer for you as well. Please keep it in mind that yes, you need to read, because leaders read a lot. So if you want to become the leader of whatever area you are in, you have to read a lot. And you also got to know how to write. And both this will fall in place when you know how to map. So I say 3 habits: read, write, map, read, write, map. And then yes, it can be a real game changer for you as well. And these 3 habits can be all put together in the COCP formats. As I said, a formula was 3, 5, 4. About the 5, I'll discuss tomorrow. But 3 and 4, what are they? 3 habits and the 4 aspects: clarity, organization, creativity, and productivity. So 3 and 4. So coming back to the question that why do we use mind maps? Mind mapping is something that has been there for quite a long time now. It's nothing, a very new thing. It has been there for more than 4 decades now, and it has been there in different countries, top companies across the world like Google and PepsiCo, Coca-Cola. You just go and browse and you'll find the top companies in the world. They ask the employees to use mind maps. There are many people who, hire mind mappers just to train their employees so that the employees can think creatively, so that the employees can work productively using mind mapping. So mind mapping is really beneficial. But lately in India, we are still yet to realize that the potential it has. So even before we go to why do we use mind mapping, I want you to understand this, or I want you to know this, that the typical way that we take notes since childhood, how do we take notes? We write from top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom, in the form of sentences, graphs, or maybe sometimes in the form of bullet points, lists, paragraphs. But I want you to know this, that brain doesn't think in that way. Our brain is naturally, the natural way the brain thinks is in the form of, branches. The brain thinks radially. The brain never thinks in terms of what we call sentences, paragraphs. Let me show you one diagram, for example. Now, the moment I show you this pictures, what comes to your mind? The first thought. The first thought is never that it is a cloud. What you think is it's a rabbit and an elephant, right? So yes, that's what even I thought when I saw this for the first time. And that's what anyone in this world, mostly, they would not say, hey, there's just a bunch of clouds together. No, they would say, it looks like a rabbit. It looks like a baby elephant. And that's a very common thing. As a child, when we were born, or even before we learned any language, whatever is our mother tongue, irrespective of whatever our mother tongue we learned later, the first language as a child that we learned was the language of visuals, the language of image. Even before we knew that apple was apple, we know that this was apple. We know that this was this fruit. We know this was pencil. We know this was our mom. This was our dad. So, the first language that we all learn as human beings is a language of visuals. Okay. So the moment we see visuals, our brain automatically tends to capture information faster. And that's why when we see a photograph, even though nothing is written on a photograph, we have so much memories of it, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is that, our brain thinks in terms of images. Our brain thinks in terms of associations. What we did, we associated the image of rabbit that we have in our mind with this cloud, and we associated and we linked. So brain works in terms of images, associations, and links, not in terms of, sentences and paragraphs and bullets. So whatever we have been doing till now, the typical way of note taking, or the typical way of decision making, it is counterproductive. It is not productive. Okay. And mind mapping, the way it has been designed to mimic our brain. Let me show you now this. Now, this is a comparison of, linear note taking versus mind mapping. Now, when I say linear note taking, it is more about going from, top to bottom, left to right, and using just 2-color pens and all of that. So we all know it is very monotonous. It is very restrictive. It is sequential. And though it looks very clean on paper, but actually it is disorganized, because when you write from point 1 to point, let's say 10, and in between you remember something in point number 1, and generally what happens is you will not feel like going back to point number 1 and again jotting down there something, because automatically, because it is in the form of a list or a bullet or something, you will not have much space around. And when such kind of things happen, even your brain will not flow in the direction. Once a point is over, your brain will not give much thought about it. Okay, so it is restrictive. It is restricting your brain to think or to flow. Whereas in mind mapping, when the moment you do it radially, as you know that it is also called a radiant way of thinking. The moment you think radially, what happens is you are allowing your brain to just flourish. You're allowing your brain to flow in all directions. Okay, you're telling your brain that yes, you can now think in all the directions. And that moment only your inner, potential, your creativity starts, building up. So mind mapping, it is not just radiant, it is multifaceted, it is colorful, it is pictures, and There are ample amount of research on the internet today that you can go and see so much of research done, that how colors, pictures, non-linear things, how easily they enter inside our brain, and we retain those kind of information for longer time. Again, we see that mind mapping, automatically it works in the basis of associations. So mind mapping is definitely a better way than linear note taking in all areas that you can say. And I have been using it for so long, and I have so many clients who say that now they even, whether it's a project for their office that they are doing, and there are many project managers now who have started using mind mapping, this particular software they use. There are people who now craft their YouTube videos or speech, everything, even Toastmaster speech, using mind mapping. So people are starting using mind mapping, and it has tremendous benefit, and you will start knowing the benefit only when you start using it. So I say that if we are using linear way of note taking, it is what the brain purposefully, we are intentionally, we are putting the brain inside the prison. And when the brain is inside the prison, it cannot think, it cannot flow. So what you need to do is you have to allow your brain to flow. Okay, and that can be done only using mind mapping and not the linear typical way of thinking. All right, yes. So what are the mindsets that I want you to understand even before you move? The first thing is that yes, we have been doing a certain way of thinking, and we have been following certain pattern, and all that is okay, no problem. But you need to understand this, that now that you have invested your money and your time in this particular workshop, I want you to take it to the next level. You have to have that mindset that yes, I'm going to give mind mapping a try. I'm going to start applying mind mapping in whatever areas of my life possible. And I'm going to teach you over the next 2 days, and as well as in today's session, how to do that. So the first mindset is just unlearn whatever things you have about note taking or thought processing or making a to-do list and all that. Let's have an open mind like a child and learn mind mapping. The second mindset is that mostly people think as mind mapping is nothing but just taking up some color pencils and making some drawings on the paper, and that's it. It's just pretty simple, and it's for kids. Let me tell you, mind mapping is not just for kids. Mind mapping is just for anyone and everyone. From the CEO of a company to an 8-year-old child, anyone can do mind mapping, and the benefits are tremendous. So if you see this picture of the brain, it is generally said that the right side of your brain is more creative. Whenever you think creatively, or whenever you are practicing music, or if you're taking up some creative projects, arts, music, and all of that, it is said that people who have dominant right side brain are more attracted towards this kind of skill, whereas there are people who are left brain and they are more analytical, they understand numbers better, facts and figures and all of that. So well, in that case, most of you might be thinking that the lawyer will be definitely a left brain, and an artist or a dancer would be definitely a right brain person. But if you look at the work, or if you go into deep researching the best brains in the world, or if you see that the top leaders and how they work or how their brain function, you will find that to excel in any field, in whatever you are doing, if you want to excel, if you want to be better than yourself, if you want to unlock your fullest potential, you have to balance both sides of your brain. You have to go for holistic thinking approach. Okay, so the reason why I'm showing you this is because mind mapping is a tool, or mind mapping is a way of representing information. Mind mapping is a way of representing thoughts where both the sides of the brain are actively involved in the process. The way mind mapping has been designed, the rules, the things, the way it is designed, it is done in a way that both the sides of the brain are fully immersed in the process. So as a result of which, both sides of the brain balanced, and automatically the outcome of whatever you are doing, whether you are writing something or if you continuously practice mind mapping over a period of time, both sides of your brain will enhance. And when you take a decision, it will not be just dominant by left side or right side or whatever. It will be a holistic approach. So mind mapping is a very good tool if you want to balance both sides of your brain. Okay, what is this picture? What do you see? Do you see just the balloons, white balloons, or your attention goes to the red balloon? Yeah, so we'll talk about this maybe in tomorrow's class, but just remember this picture. So this is the man, Tony Buzan, the inventor of mind mapping. He spent 4 decades of his, or maybe more than 4 decades of his life, reading every possible book on the planet about brain, about how human mind operates, about how human eyes perceive any information. He studied all of that so that he wanted to prove that yes, there is a genius inside each one of us. The only thing is that we need to unlock that. And in this process, he developed this beautiful framework or beautiful tool called mind mapping, which has the potential to unlock whatever is there inside you if you start using it. So he is the inventor of mind mapping. And Tony Buzan in 1973, if I remember correctly, he was invited. That was a time when he was getting very much popular for mind mapping. There were government bodies calling him for advising, and schools and colleges all around. So it was during that time BBC, they invited him for a show where he discussed about mind mapping, and the show became so popular that it gave rise to that first book in mind mapping that was called as Use Your Head. And let me tell you, the book Use Your Head till date remains to be the international bestseller, and it is one of the classic book about brain and how to use your brain. And it is, the name of the book I'm repeating is Use Your Head. So this is, the beauty of mind mapping. And these are my mentors in mind mapping. The first you see is Manish Dutt, who introduced to me this concept of mind mapping some 8 years back. I knew that something like this existed, but I didn't knew the rules and regulations and how to actually go and apply it in different areas of my life. So he was the first person who rekindled that spark in me. Prince Marek Kaspersky is the person under whom I got trained under the Buzan Academy. And Graham Hugs, the last person in the picture that you see, he's the founder of biggerplate.com. And biggerplate.com, by the way, is the world's largest mind mapping library. You can go and check on the internet. So these are the people who are my mentors, and I'm so privileged that I had been mentored by best of best in the world in this mind mapping. So I'm going to show you a quick video now about mind mapping. Okay, so this was a map that I did. So that was just to show you that how quickly we can mind map. Of course, the speed was a little higher, but this is a typical mind map about myself. I have represented myself as a sun in the center. And this is how we draw a mind map. You can draw branches from all across. And each of those branches will have, beautiful sub branches and a lot of colors and a lot of, You can draw some images and shapes and all of that. So we'll talk a little bit more about it in a short while. So now let me show you this. So one of the typical, use case of mind mapping is mind mapping a book. When you have a book with you and, you have read that book and you just seem to, after 10 days or 15 days, or sometimes even after 7 days, you just seem to forget whatever you have read in that book. Even if you have prepared notes, the moment you go and read, if it is like some 300-400 page book, when you read it, you feel bored. Okay, how long is this book going to be? So mind mapping a book, suppose you have taken notes, that book, even if you're not touching the book, even the notes you will not feel, because you'll have to turn the pages, 20-25 pages, 10 pages. But the moment you mind map that book, you can see here in the example, this is a mind map of a 42-page book called With Age Comes Brain by Tony Buzan. Okay, beautiful book, small but very powerful. And all the things that have been described, all the key and important things that have been described in this book are mentioned in this diagram, in this mind map. If you see, this mind map is a huge mind map, and all the important points are captured. Now, if I look at this mind map, even after 10 years or 15 years, all I might need is like some 5 to 10 minutes to just see. And just like that photograph, you remember I gave you the photograph example, that when we see a photograph, immediately we recollect where it was taken, who were the people with us, which location, date, year, blah, blah, all that thing we remember. Similarly, this mind map is going to, behave, or it is going to act like that photograph to you in your memory. The moment you look at that, if not entire 100% information, but you will be able to recollect all the key information. And this is because when you make the mind map, your senses are involved. When your senses are involved in a particular task, automatically you tend to, remember more. You tend to be more involved, and you tend to recollect that information after several years. And in the process, your brain starts thinking creatively. Your left and the right brain starts, aligning. And that is when automatically again your productivity gets better. So it's all like a cyclic process. So this is a beautiful mind map that I wanted to show you. Now let's come to the rules of a mind map. Now there are very simple rules, but when we follow these rules of mind map, that is when we can actually get the full benefit of this very important tool. So the first is branches. The branches of a mind map, if you have seen the mind maps that I've shown you, should be curved and not straight lines. Then each word on the mind map should be capitalized. The first set of words on the mind map should be capitalized. And there should be only one word, one single word. So keywords. Then comes that we have to use colors in a mind map. The moment we use colors, our brain captures more information. So some colors, and minimum at least 3 colors you have to use. The next is images. If not too many images, at least you can draw some small shapes, or some small, sketches or doodling, just for your brain to capture that information more effectively. And last but not least is your structures. Your mind map should have a proper structure. It should not be some very straight lines or something like that. And also you have to follow a pattern in your mind map. It should either go from, clockwise or anti-clockwise. Fix to one thing and then follow that for all your mind maps. It should not be that today is Friday and I'll, follow clockwise, and tomorrow Saturday and follow anti-clockwise. No, mind maps, once, because it is a very personalized thing, you have to make it, either left to right, either clockwise or anti-clockwise. So that is the structure. And the next structure is that mind map can never be, there is no structure as such. Mind map needs to be like a tree. It can just move in all the direction endlessly, infinitely. It can move in all directions, just like an growing tree. So let me show you. These are the requirements, very basic requirements for mind mapping. And though people imagine that you need big, A4 sheets or A3 big sheets and all for drawing, mind maps, but I have drawn mind maps even in a small, notebook like this, which is half of A4. Or I have also drawn mind maps on A4, A3, B6, very small, small, even post-it notes. So space is never an issue if you know to draw it correctly. Yes. So let's move ahead. First of all, start at the center. Whatever mind map you're making, start at the center and then move ahead. Okay, so if you see at the center, there's a central image, and the central image need not be a great thing, but it should make sense to you. That's the first important point. And avoid geometric shapes like circle, triangle, straight lines. Just avoid all of them. So start at the center, and then from the center, start drawing branches, just like I have shown. And in those branches, you can write down, for example, in this case, I'm trying to map my feelings at that particular point of day, or just I'm thinking about, okay, what are the different kinds of feeling I experience? Let's say cool, I feel cool sometimes, I feel warmth sometimes, I feel joy sometimes. So I'm just mapping out those. And when I say cool, what are the words that come to my mind? Balanced, calm, peace, meditate. So all those I have written in the sub branch. Again, each of the sub branch can have more branches. So it can keep on flowing. That is the whole idea of mind mapping. So if you see, this is a beautiful mind map. In the process, I have drawn, I have selected a red color for joy. And if you can see, I'm zooming it a little bit just to show you. So in mind map, you can also see that I have drawn a relationship between the warmth, family. A link is going to the family in joy. So if when you're drawing a mind map, let's say you're making a mind map of a book, or you're making a mind map of anything else, and then you suddenly find a link between one branch with that of the other, all you need to do is just put some dotted lines and go there and stick there, because it shows that there's a connection between this and this, which you cannot definitely do in your normal note taking. So this is again another very beautiful way of looking at mind maps. The one thing, it is in radial direction. Second thing is there's a link from one branch to the other branch, so it tells your brain to think in different direction. That's the entire point here, is allowing your brain to think more, to think creatively, to think in a flow. Now just have a look at this. See, I'm not just drawing my branches. If you can see the joy branch, I'm not just going to the edge of the paper. I'm just going to all the sides of the paper, bringing back. So that thing I have to do in mind map. If you can see, this is a mind map. Just see how the branches, just like tree. You look at the nature. If you see the trees, are they very straight lines? No. The tree, if I'm just zooming and showing you, you just see that I'm going in all the direction. Joy, you see the music, listen, just see, have a look. So this is the entire map. So now let's do this first exercise. Let's actually start mind mapping. And this will be the first mind map that you will make. I call it the 4W mind mapping, or this mind map, this first mind map that we are going to do today together. This is something I would like you to do it for the rest of your life before doing anything. Let's say you want to learn cooking, make this map. You want to learn dancing, make this map. What I mean is that irrespective of whatever skill you are taking up in life to learn next, whether you want to learn public speaking, whatever it is, you must use this map, because this map is called as the 4Ws of a skill. And I have designed this map specifically, to understand that how our brain works. Because when we map out this, the 4Ws of any skill, the moment we map out, our brain is so involved that we understand that the importance of why we are taking up that skill. So in this first mind map, what we'll do is, I would encourage you also to draw along with me. What you'll do is, you'll at the center, you will write down the skill, or maybe you can write down the 4Ws of skill. Right now, for you, the skill is mind mapping. Of course, in future, you can do it with any other skill. And then you take out the first branch, that is your Y branch. In the Y branch, the first branch, we need to sort out. And whatever you are doing in life, the first important thing that you need to sort out is the why. So here, why do you want to learn mind mapping? Professional, personal, health, whatever is your goal, whatever are your goals related to mind mapping. So that you have to map out first. Second, once you know that why you want to do mind mapping or why you want to learn this new skill, or for example, in future you do cooking or whatever, let's say dancing, driving a car, or learning how to write something or whatever it is. Once you know that why, the next important point is when are you going to do that? The time, duration, and frequency. So the time is like whether you're going to do it in the morning or evening or at night, before bed, after waking up. Fix the time, especially when you're learning a new skill. For the first few months, or at least for the first 66 days, you are supposed to fix the time, that okay, exactly at this time I'll do it every day, so that it becomes a part of your life. Next is the duration. It could be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour, half an hour, whatever suits your current life situation. According to that, according to your convenience, fix a time slot. Okay, this particular time and for this much duration. Let's say morning 5:30 a.m. for 15 minutes, 3 times a week. So decide the time, duration, and frequency. The next where is where. Office, study room, park. Where are we going to do this? And the last one is what. Once we have implemented your why, then you have understood when are you going to do, you fixed, then you understood where are you going to do. Okay, maybe in the park every day I'll do, maybe in my office during the lunch break or something like that. Finally, we need to move to what. In the what is where the actual thing will come. That is what kind of commitment I need for this. Do I need to collaborate with someone and have an accountability partner? How frequently, I know the duration, but how much of practice it is required? So should I practice this or not? How frequently do I need to practice? And what exactly are the things I'm going to trying to do this. For example, implement. What am I going to implement? For example, in mind mapping, I want to implement mind mapping in this areas of my life. I will practice mind mapping every day. I'll collaborate with my kids maybe, and we will practice together mind mapping. And I will commit that irrespective of whatever life I'm going throughout the week, but during weekends I'll dedicate more hours. So something like that. So you have to sort out your why, when, where, and also the what. And once all these are sorted out, whatever skill it is, you can actually put this on your desktop or somewhere on your near your office table or wherever it is. You can even keep it on your table or in your folder and just have a look. Okay, these are the 4 W's, and this is the reason why I have started this skill. So when that thing is in front of you, it also serves like a vision board for you. And when that is there, you can automatically gear up towards the skill. So it's like two-way thing. One is you're telling your brain all this, you're also mind mapping, so your brain now knows that you have to do this, and then it also acts there like the vision board. So I would encourage all of you to do this exercise, and let's do it. You can see that there are 2 pictures. On one side there is this hand drawn 4 W's, and on the other side there is this big map that I have drawn for you. So please see and try to understand that why are you learning this skill, when will you do mind mapping, where will you do, and what are you going to do. So I encourage you all to take 5 minutes of your time now and draw this mind map. Okay, I can see Murthy. Can you just show your mind map? Excellent. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand, I mean, in the reaction, or you can type in the chat. I will unmute you if you have any questions, or you can type in the chat. I'll answer. Yes, today, Pawan, today we are doing only for one skill. Sorry, this is the, yeah, we are doing only for one skill, and that skill is mind mapping. What I want is that you can keep this template with yourself, and in future, you can always use it. Even if you're reading a book also, you just ask yourself, why am I reading this? How long am I going to take this? Where will I read this? And what will I do for that? So just like that. But for today, we'll be taking mind mapping because that is the topic for the day. It need not be perfect. It's completely fine. I remember my first mind map was terrible. Okay, Puneet is showing his mind map. Okay, Puneet. So, okay, I can see a lot of branches, and then at the end of the branches, Puneet, would you like to unmute yourself? Yeah, you can unmute yourself. Yes, Puneet.
Yes. Okay. So I have just drawn this like a basic mind map. So it's like, why should we draw a mind map? Like the reasons.
Acha, what are your reasons?
Okay. So I'll just read this out.
Okay.
So organize information.
Okay.
Get more clarity.
Okay.
And then get faster results.
Okay.
And then be more productive and to make information simple to understand.
Exactly. Wonderful. And have you sorted out your when and where?
I haven't sorted that. This was like just the first time I.
Okay, great. Congratulations. I mean, at least you have started, and you know you're going the right direction because you have sorted out your why. Sorting out the why is very important.
Okay.
But
so
yeah,
why and where need to be sorted, right?
Yeah, why? No, you can, if you have time, we can take some 2-3 more minutes and we can find out that why and when and where and what. Of course, you can make it better tomorrow before coming for tomorrow's session. Okay,
Sure.
The group will be open for uploading all your mind maps.
Sure.
So all of that we will do. Yeah, but this is just to start, at least begin, you know, our mind mapping journey.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Puneet. Yeah. All right. So moving on, are you making, have you taken at least the basic structure? Of course, the entire map picture will be sent to you in the WhatsApp group. And I would request all of you that you take some time, maybe at night today or even tomorrow morning, anytime before the session, to, you know, sort out this thing, the 4 W's of any skill, and, you know, post it in the group. The group will be open until 5 p.m. tomorrow for, you know, posting from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. it will be open. All right, so let's move quickly to the next map. So this is another map. I do this map every single month. Okay, and why I'm showing you is, what I do in this map is I call it SWOT mapping. You know, as professionals, maybe most of you know that in companies and all, we do a lot of SWOT analysis, and, you know, we say that, okay, these are the strengths, these are the weaknesses. But when was the last time we did our self SWOT analysis? Okay, so this is like a SWOT mapping. What we do is, you know, if you see the diagram in between, I have, you know, very carefully picked up, I mean, made that, not picked up, I have made that. Sometimes it is the, you know, strength, sometimes it is the opportunities, the doors you see, sometimes it is the weaknesses, sometimes it is the, it are the, I mean, the threats, whatever it is. So we need to map out all of that. And the beauty of mind mapping is, when you jot down some of your strengths, you will see that, okay, can some of my strengths be actually linked to some opportunities? Okay, so that linking will come in a normal way. If we do SWOT analysis for ourselves, we will not just find, you know, automatically our brain, we will not feel like flipping the page, udhar kya tha, idhar kya tha. It doesn't happen that way. You know, we all know how brain works. We might be in the shower and suddenly one idea comes up. Okay, or you might be driving your car and one idea pops up. That is how brain works. It will not be कि नहीं अभी dinner time है, तो, you know, idea will not pop out. और अभी शुभ्रा का session चल रहा है, तो मुझे कुछ दूसरा सोचना नहीं है. Automatically ideas, thoughts, something will come. Okay, so it will happen. So, you know, this is another map. I will share it in the WhatsApp group also, that I would like you to take as an exercise before attending tomorrow's session. The SWOT analysis of yourself. You need not draw it in this way. The center will be your name. For example, the center will be Vishal or Ayub or Rujita or Murthy or whatever your name. And with that name, what is the image that you imagine? It could be a flower, it could be anything. Okay, one small image or one small code or something like that with few colors in the center. And then your strength, your weakness, your threats and opportunities. Because unless we are clear with all of this, we cannot go and learn how to do mind mapping for books, how to produce content for our articles or whatever it is. We'll be talking more about that tomorrow. But today's task is to understand ourselves better first and get clearer. Okay, clarity is today's topic. First thing that we need to do is get proper clarity. And this third map, again, I would request each one of you to draw this very quickly. I'll tell you what are there in the branches, that I'll tell you, but I would request you to draw it. And I'll explain to you what are all this. You can see some heart symbol, you can see some world, then some rupee symbol. Okay, then somewhere it is written good. Okay, so the first one was the 4W. The second one was SWOT. And this one is called as, Ikigai mapping. I'll tell you more about it in a while. Just I would request you to draw it. And this map, only this map, some of the mind mapping sessions conducted by my mentors from Australia or even, different countries, what they do is they take one full session only to understand this one map. And this one map can give you clarity. Even in this 3 days, if you don't understand anything else, but you understand just this one map, even then you're going to get a lot of clarity in life. So let's start. Okay, if you have drawn the red branch, do you see? In the red branch where there are hearts, that branch is, you can write down what you love. Okay, 3 things that you love to do. Or you could even make 4 branches out of the main branch. 3 things or 4 things that you love to do. Very quickly you can write down: reading, writing, talking to people, whatever it is. 3 things that you love to do. Music, anything. Okay. All right. So next is, if you have written down 3 things, you need not think much, because tomorrow or day after also you can always work on this. Right now what I'm trying to tell you is that deep dive into yourself, and only 3 things, even 4 is fine, but 3 things at least for now that you love doing. The next branch, that is good. There I want to put 3 things that you're good at. Now you might love music, you might love singing, but you are not a very good singer, right? So there's a difference between what you love and what you are good at. Okay, so just put down 3 pointers about what you are good at. It could be, I'm very good at talking with people. I'm very good at, in office solving people's issue. I'm very good at some data analysis. I'm very good at communication. I'm very good at, understanding or listening to people. Even that is a very good thing. I'm a very good listener. So whatever it is. All right. So the first branch, that is the red branch, it is what you love doing. The second branch, that is good, what are you good at doing? The third branch, that is where you can see a lot of heads and question marks, the purple one, it is about, just try to recall 3 things for which people come to you for advice. It could be in school, it could be in college, it could be in your office, it could be from your neighbors, relatives. 3 things for which people come to you for advice. Any 3, it could be any skill. Maybe you write very well, so people always come here, application likh dena. Even that thing also is fine. Or some people, they will come with all their problems and just to tell you about their problems, and you listen to them. Okay, or maybe you are very good in consultation, one-to-one, whatever it is. 3 things you are very, very good, I mean, for which people come to you seeking for help. All right. So now the blue branch, let's move to the blue branch. The purple one was, what are the 3 things, at least 3 things for which people came to me for advice in my school days, college days, in my office, or even maybe someone from my relatives and all that. Now the blue one is, out of this 3, what you love, what you're good at, for what people come to you for advice, is there something that the world also needs more? For example, I'm very good at, I love, reading books. I'm giving a very simple example. I love reading books. I am also very good at, making notes and all of that. And a lot of time in my college, or I'm just giving an example, a lot of times in my college or my school days, people came to me asking for, please explain, can you explain this entire concept in short to me? So now what you understand is that the world needs more. You have that teaching capability maybe, or you have the capability of condensing big material into smaller chunks and explaining it to people in a better way. So I don't know what is that inside you, but this map is to take you from what you love to what you're good at to what people came to you for advice, because you will see that there is some common link. And from those 3 branches, if there is some common link, is there something that the world also needs from you? Maybe the world needs better trainers, the world needs better communicators, the world needs more listeners, anything that the world needs. It could be a social cause. Okay, so whatever it is there something? And it need not be 3 things, it could be even one single thing. Okay, the world, the blue branches, is there something that the world needs out of this? And there will be definitely at least one thing, for sure. Okay, and the last one, the green one. Okay, whenever I have to think about money, God knows, but why I always represent it with green. So you might use other color, but the green branch is that out of all of this, see, the ultimate aim, or I'm not saying that we are, why do we want to get productive? Why do we want? Because we know that, if whether I might be very passionate in mind mapping, or maybe you as a person, you might be very passionate in singing, or maybe drawing, dancing, or you are a very passionate speaker, whatever it is, and you also have proficiency. But only passion and proficiency is not going to go in the long run. We also need to be profitable in whatever we are doing. Only then we can serve others better. Okay, so passion and proficiency is one thing, but we have to add that profitable element. And when do we get profitable? When we know that out of all of these things, what I'm good at, what I love doing, I mean, I'm very passionate about what I'm good at, I have proficiency in that. I also have some base that people came to me for that thing right from childhood, maybe. I also see that there's a need for that in the world now. So is there anything from there that I can take it for further, for maybe passive income, or it could be just maybe, if I don't need money, it could be, but imagine that you can raise funds for maybe a social cause. So my idea is, can you now see the clarity in this entire map? We move it from what you love to what you're good at to what people came to you for advice, because that is a validation point, to what the world needs, to can it become a profitable thing. And it's a whole the process. So to give you a clear vision, now this is like whether you are a coach or a trainer, or you are, a college student, or you are even, I mean, many of my previous clients were, they were lawyers also. There are students, there are some marketers, there are salespersons. So whatever it is, doesn't matter. This map gives you a complete clarity every time that you have that bug telling you that where am I going, is my life going in the correct direction or not, do I need this, do I need that. You just have to tell yourself, draw this map. Of course the SWOT mapping is there, the other map is there, but this map will give you a complete clarity. And you have to keep on doing this. Maybe in first iteration you might not get it correct, you might want to add more branches, so you can do it first time, second time, third time. Okay, so this is about the 3 maps that I wanted to show you today. So I'm stopping to share, stopping the share screen option. So if you have seen that many people say that if we take too much of information, we will get overloaded and I will tend to forget things. But in mind mapping, it is just the opposite. The more information you give to your brain, the more you will remember. Okay, that is about mind mapping, because it is, it is a beautiful tree kind of a structure, a radial kind of a structure. Okay, so the way you make the mind map, it will give you a clarity about what you're good at, what you love. Okay, Vishal says that if we are currently not good at something now, but will be good in future, then what we will do, no problem. I mean, that is where you will say that, you are developing that skill. You might love something, but you're not good at that. But that's why I say that you have to find a common link. That is the beauty of mind map, that maybe you are good at something or not good at something for time being, but you saw that a lot of people came to you for their advice. So you understand now that where are your weaknesses. You can, from this third map, you can actually map out your second map. Right, Vishal? This is a very interesting question again, that I know that what are my passion, what I love. I know what is my second thing, that is what I'm good at, and what I'm not good at also. So now I know where to develop. So I know what are my weakness areas. So that is the best part, that when these 3 maps come together, learning a new skill, SWOT mapping, that is understanding your strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. And then the third map, that is, your passion, purpose, proficiency, all coming together in one map. I call it the Ikigai map. Okay, so all that coming together gives you a complete clarity. And this is what we have done today, is just the tip of the iceberg in mind mapping. We have not still gone to the depth of mind mapping. It is just tip of the iceberg, or what you call, the scratch on the surface today, what we have done. Okay, so I hope we have moved one step forward with this session. We are extra by 6 minutes. I say the session would end at 8, and I mean, it is a 90-minute session when we'll be open for Q&A. So it's just 6 minutes more than the promised time. And this is the beauty of mind mapping. And I'm open for questions now for the next 15 minutes or next 10 minutes, until 8:45. You can just raise hand or type in the chat me, and I will unmute you. Anyone who would like to ask questions, please go ahead. Okay, Ayub says unmute. Yes, Ayub. Yes, Ayub.
Yeah, doctor, like I saw that you are using the MindMaster mind maps. So is it compatible both on mobile and desktop?
Yes, MindMeister also, they have a mobile friendly option. You can download from Google Play and you can use it. I use it on desktop, but it is available on mobile also.
Can we sync both the things?
Yeah, because if you open it from your account, suppose they will ask for an account name, you'll have to create an account with MindMeister. So if you're using the same account, so it will be definitely syncing.
Okay, apart from MindMeister, what is the other companies you have used?
I have used Iowa. I'm AYOA.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
Which is more comfortable?
If you're a beginner, MindMeister, I would suggest MindMeister. But if you see the MindMeister branches and all, they do not follow the rules of mind mapping.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Iowa, the branches will come curved and everything, only that the addition of images and all, if you have already used some kind of flowchart diagram or something of that sort, it will not be very difficult for you to use MindMeister. That is why for beginners, I always suggest MindMeister. And XMind is there. So these are the 3 softwares. I'm just typing in the chat.
Yeah, please.
Mind. Yeah, I'm typing it, XMind. Iowa, and MindMeister. On the third day, I'll be showing you more about these three tools as well, Xmind, Iowa, and MindMeister, and how I use them for organizing everything from my CV to my articles to everything. I'll be showing a little bit tomorrow, and day after it will be more extensive about especially I'll show you on Iowa and MindMeister. Xmind, I have not been using it for quite some time now. I was using it some 3-4 years back. Right now I'm more towards this too. So what is the purpose? May I ask you, for what purpose do you want to use it? Like any specific purpose?
Yeah, I run a school. Of late, I am writing a book.
Okay. If you're writing a book, you can go ahead with MindMeister.
Yeah, that's what
I have written my book. Yeah, I have written both my books. The first one was using this one, hand-drawn. I have completely mapped out everything using hand-drawn mind map. And the second one, this one, it was, most of the book most parts of the book were written on the go. Maybe I was in the car or traveling or something. So I would have this, or in the laptop, I would just jot down all the points in MindMeister. And at the end of the day, things became very easy. So whether you are, even if you are preparing curriculum, for example, you are a teacher or someone, as running a school or something, whether you're preparing some operational procedures like SOPs, or you want to give some rules and all, you want to prepare lesson plan, evaluations, everything you can do using mind mapping. So
doctor, is it possible like you show the structure, like how is it we have prepared for a book?
Yeah, I'll be showing that is on the third day. Book mapping, content mapping is on the third day.
Fine. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Puneet, go ahead.
Okay, so here my question is like, you put an excellent point that one thing can be linked to another, right? Using mind mapping. One point, for example, in strengths can be linked to the opportunities. So my question here is, whatever we have learned in our previous courses, right? One might be into health, another is into wealth, right? So there is a lot of information overload, right? So how do we make a part of us like in that one mind map? It's like we don't have to refer to multiple mind maps.
Or you want to make one single mind map for yourself?
Yes, one mind map, like by the name of Puneet, for example. It's like that information should be becoming a part of us, like where we can apply it.
Okay. For example, I can share with what I do. For example, I have a mind map, Shubhra Mukherjee, for my CV. Now, when I say CV, it's not the typical CV resume kind of thing I make. What I do is, it's a mind map of myself, which I use. For example, I want to update whatever. Suppose I have even done a recent certification, I'll go and update in that mind map. So it's like a one place solution. Whatever accomplishments, whatever books I have written, whatever articles, everything is there in one mind map. So that is more about kind of a repository for me. But suppose I want to set, okay, 2022, what are my goals? What I would do is, in the center, I would maybe put a picture of myself or a goal or something, goal card. And then I would write financial, and what are my 3 major financial goals for 2022. And let's say I would say health goals. I would say, let's say family goals, something, professional goals, or maybe whatever it is. So that way I would set. So it depends upon, so definitely it will be all in one page only. You don't have to go for those rigorous to-do list, big to-do list, and then sort out so many things and all. You just take one paper, and not necessary, as I said, you don't have to make in A3 or C. This is the A4. This is a simple A4 copy where I have made this mind map. Now this is a mind map of COCP that I was teaching you today. Okay, so I know that I don't have to prepare any script. Okay, I don't have to write any speech and all. This mind map is sufficient for me to give a 2-hour lecture on COCP. Suppose I was invited last week also, so to speak about the COCP mind mapping, just a 90-minute session one day. So this was sufficient for me. So that's what I'm saying, that, but now if you want to write the same thing about, let's say, Puneet, and you want to write in different ways, so you have to fix that, okay, what Puneet wants in 2022, or what is Puneet all about. Let's say Puneet's accomplishment from 5 years till now, whatever your age is. So you can divide the different phases of your life, school life, this life, that life. So whatever way, it is always possible to put it in one page.
Yeah, I think that helps a lot.
Thank you so much, Puneet, for the question. Okay, anybody else, you can please raise your hand. You can use the option reactions and you can raise your hand if you want. We still have 2 to 3 minutes to go. Vishal Shah asks that, can we plan our day with mind mapping? Absolutely, we can do that. Absolutely. We can plan our, day, month, year, everything. And I will show you that also tomorrow, that how I have planned and how I use accurately mind mapping for everything, whether it's the day planning or weekly planning. For everything, I use mind map. I cannot see any hand raise. Okay, Murthy, yes. Yeah, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, so my one question is there a difference in doing the mind maps in a paper versus trying to do it in a website online?
Absolutely, there are a lot of differences. And if Tony Buzan were alive today, the inventor of mind map, he would say that never go for software version first in the first place. First start with hand-on mind mapping. Now, when I started some 8 years back, I was also told by my mentor, if you remember the 3 mentors I have shown you, the first mentor whom I met around 8 years back, Mr. Manish Dutt, he also taught us. He was someone who went to UK just to meet Tony Buzan and learn from him by staying with him, and came back and he taught us. So when he taught us, he told that, don't go for mind mapping software versions unless you get your hands in, fully with the hand-drawn one. Because when you draw with hand, that is what I was saying, your senses are involved. If you know the theory of multiple intelligence, you know that when all your senses are involved, that is when your brain, your brain starts thinking in all direction. It starts thinking creatively, more ideas come. So of course, hand-drawns are always preferred over, the software versions. But if you're someone who don't want to do mind mapping at all because you have to pick up your pen and the paper, and if you feel lazy, then I say that instead of not doing it at all, do go for the software version. I have seen some kids doing mind mapping in iPad also, or some whiteboards also. They don't want to take a pencil and take different color pencil. They would rather take one pen and change the color of this thing on the whiteboard, and then they would do it. But I have seen kids, in fact, I know many kids who use mind mapping. They would make it in the whiteboard, or they would make it in this one with touch screen. They will do with the finger or with the stylus, they would do. So it's quite possible. But as a trainer of Buzan Academy, I would always suggest that go for the hand-drawn version first. Once you get at least after 1 month practice, then you can go for the other versions, or maybe parallelly, but not just, don't leave the hand-drawn one at all. I hope I have answered your question, Murthy.
Yes. Yeah, yes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, Ganapati, you can go ahead.
Yeah, hi. My question is with respect to content mapping for technology, because there's so much of content to learn, right? And it's evolving as well. So do we just maintain links to different things, or do we kind of study those and then put it into mind maps? How do I retain? Because there's so much to learn.
What I do, I'll tell you here. What I do is, for example, I have a separate mind map where there are like around 5 branches. And for example, my first branch is, I watch a lot of TED Talks and TEDx talks on YouTube. So what I do is I put a branch there, just TEDx, and then important, like this month, 10 TEDx talk I have watched. So those links I'll put, so that after 1 month also, I'll just go and click and it'll directly take me to the YouTube, for example. And another branch, I will say that, because I am a certified mind mapper, so I have to learn a lot about how our brain functions. And that is a part of our curriculum also as trainers, that we need to know about all of that. We need to read a lot of content about brain, about human mind and all of that. So all that I put in another branch, those videos. So this is a map I'm talking about where I put only links. But that is not all. I also have a separate mind maps. Most of the time I make it in this kind of small notebooks that I watch the video or something, and then quickly I'll jot down the points. I'll just show you very quickly. So those are like individual mind maps. For example, this is a mind map. It's about mind mapping, but this is a mind map that I have drawn after listening to Tony Buzan's YouTube video. If you can see, it's a very small, see, this is just a half of A4 paper, very small one, but all the content that Tony Buzan spoke in that video is here. So whatever you watch or whatever you listen, maybe you're listening to a podcast or even you are reading a book, all that also you can make a mind map. Those links and all are fine, but this is more about, jotting down the keywords and the important points. So how to do content mapping, that is what I was saying. That when I say content mapping, there are two ways to understand that. One is to produce content as a creator of content, and one is as a consumer. We are consuming content, but how to retain that. So both way we will do that content mapping we'll be seeing in the next two classes. That how, as you have said, that we are taking in a lot of information, but we don't know how to put it. So one link is fine, but main is this one, that after watching a video or after listening to someone, we should make something, or even after reading a book, we should make something like this so that it retains. Even after 10 years, if you see this, you will immediately, within 5 to 10 minutes, you'll be able to recall. Okay, yeah, I think I hope I answered your question. Yes, Pawan. Yeah.
Yes. Doctor, I have read somewhere that this branches should be written in bold and there should be only one letter.
One keyword. Yeah. If you remember the 5 laws of mind mapping, one of the second law was keywords. That means we should not use very long sentences and phrases. In the branch, the keyword, the moment I say keyword, it should be one only. Keywords cannot be 2, 3, 4. One per branch, one keyword. And the branch should be curved. Those are the laws. Curved.
It should be in the uppercase letters. Uppercase.
Yeah, that uppercase letter in the first branch only in the primary branch. The secondary, it's not. And also the size of the letters. Okay, the size, the moment, because it is more about telling that the main central information is the central piece. And as the branch moves further and further, the size of the font size decreases. Okay, so in software that happens automatically. In hand-on, you can control it. No problem. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So if there are no more questions, we are ahead of, we have already gone extra by 5 minutes. So how was the session? You can quickly type in the comment. Did you get some value from it? Did you have some change in the mindset that yes, mind mapping is, a little bit interesting, or we have learned something? You can quickly put in the chat and we will close the call. And before closing the call, I would say that, there's 3 mind maps a team member will be uploading in the group, the exercise. And I would request, or I would actually request, I would not say I would order or command or nothing like that, but I would plainly request to you that please make those 3 mind maps whenever you get time, tonight or tomorrow, and put it in, upload it in the group. And the group will be open from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. in the evening. So you have a lot of time. It will just take 5 to 10 minutes per map. And this exercise will change a lot of things for you, believe me. So please go ahead and put those in the group. There'll be a separate group called assignment, which will be opened by before tomorrow, 11 a.m. So anything else you can type in the chat? All good? Or you are already hungry and you don't have enough energy or anything? Or did I take away all of your energy? How's it? You can type in the chat. Okay, excellent, great. So yeah, don't forget that you are all finishers. You said you are all going to be finishers and finishers. So are we going to meet tomorrow? All 22, 23 of you who are here, are we going to meet? Yes, no? Yes, we are all going to meet tomorrow. So please be here in the session. Many of you were before time. Some of you joined a little late, but that's fine. Okay, let's all be here tomorrow again at sharp 7 p.m. So until then, bye-bye. This is Shubhra Mukherjee signing off for now. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Thanks. Take care.